Hello everybody, I came on here just to make this special video because today marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the turning point of the war, the literal point that Nazism started to lose World War II. I know these days there's a strong tendency to focus on the horrors of American history and let everybody know how horrible America's been, and it tends to gloss over the more glorious aspects and the more heroistic aspects of American history. But America has had many fine hours, and D-Day is definitely one of our finest hours. Up until from 1940 until 1944, or really starting in 1939, Hitler started overtaking all of Europe. We all know the horrors of Nazism, the horrors of Hitler's regime, the Holocaust, the horrible abuse of the POWs, the complete annihilation of rights in Germany, and Hitler started conquering many other countries in Europe, France, Austria, all down through the Balkans. There's horrors that went on in Ukraine. Their ultimate attempt to take over the Soviet Union backfired on them, but Hitler occupied most of Europe for the duration of World War II, and until 1944 there wasn't really much turnaround. Then on this day, 80 years ago, June 6, 1944, almost 200,000 Allied troops, the Allies being the ones fighting against Hitler, predominantly the United Kingdom, the United States, and a handful of other countries, all joined together and finally was able to storm the beaches of France, beat back the Nazis, and began retaking Europe. Within a few months, we had retook Paris, we retook France, and one by one, and the Soviets started coming in from the east on Germany, and less than a year later, May 8th, 1945, Berlin fell. The Soviets finally penetrated into the city of Berlin. The Nazis finally surrendered, and World War II came to an end in Europe. All those events was a great victory. They literally saved the world, and we remember the sacrifice was made on this day because a huge percentage of those who landed on Normandy on this day in 1944 did not come home, and many of them were young boys as young as 16 years old, killed right there on the beaches. And while I speak that, the wind started blowing, the flags flying, because that famous proverb, the American flag does not blow with the wind, but rather with the breaths of all who died defending it. Over 1 million men have died in wars since 1775, men and women, and all of those wars were tragedies. I'm 100% a man who believes in peace, but some wars are necessary, and World War II was definitely a war that was necessary. Hitler had to be stopped, the Nazis had to be defeated, and those men, not just the Americans, but the many other Allies, even the Soviets, played a massive role in defeating Nazism, and we will never forget their sacrifice, and it is important that we never do. 80 years later, their breath of those who died on Normandy are flying that flag and many other flags today. I've seen that many world leaders of many countries are gathered in Normandy today in the north of France, honoring those men, and there's quite a few survivors. Many of them as old as 105 years old are gathered there today, remembering when they was young men landing on that beach, the horrific moment that they experienced, and all their brothers who likely died right there at their side, no longer with them. Many of them are actually buried there in Normandy at the American Cemetery today. Me and my household, we will never forget you or your sacrifices. God bless America, God bless those veterans, and God bless those who died fighting for all we love and have today.